Thank you for joining and giving your precious time. Maybe we start with the motivations. And before that, few moments to quiet our mind by watching the breath mindfully. So then we can reflect, contemplate on that, whether our life will be more joyful or more miserable. Mostly it depends on our own state of mind than anything else. It's very clear if we look around. There are people who are much more joyful in their life, even though things might not be going so well in their life externally. And on other hand, we also see people who are quite very unhappy, quite miserable, even though things are going quite well from the external point of view. We don't even have to look outside around us. We just have to look ourselves. Sometimes externally things are going well, but something triggered our mind. And our mind get disturbed, agitated. And then, we start to feel so bad and negative about the life and so forth. Become so unhappy, miserable. On the other hand, sometimes we have some external challenges, obstacles, but we are able to see things better with our own mind because our mind is in more positive state, in better state, positive state. So that doesn't bother us so much, doesn't disturb us so much, and still be able to find joy, peace. And those are our direct experience. So what it shows is very clear. It's our state of mind more than anything else that makes our life either miserable or happy. Either joyful or painful. Therefore, it's so important to recognize that. Having recognized that, trying to put more effort in trying to work with our mind. Instead of paying all our attention to the external world, outside world. And by paying more attention to our internal world of our mind, we should try to practice to transform our mind as much as possible, to reduce those negative emotions and to increase those positive emotions, such as loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind, wisdom, relax and emptiness, patience, sense of contentment, joyfulness. In order to generate and cultivate those positive state of mind or emotions, which are the source of our inner joy, peace, happiness. We need to create the cause and conditions through reflection, contemplation, meditations, practice. And for that, we have to be reminded all the time, all the time. Many of us know that, but we forget. Especially when we need to remember, we forget them. So that is why we are coming together here to remind each of us the importance of that. And of course, it's not enough just be reminded, then we need to apply as much as possible until we don't have to remember anymore, because it has become very natural. Effortless. And our act of coming together here become cause and conditions to obtain our own highest potential, the fully awakened state. So we can be even more and more and greater benefit, service and help to not just our families, but to go beyond our families to all the human beings, to all sentient beings. And in order to achieve that fully enlightenment, we need to generate and fully develop all the realizations, and especially limitless highest level of the awakening mind of bodhicitta and wisdom realizing emptiness. So we make a strong determination to try, at least try as much as possible, and create cause and conditions to develop those inner qualities. Okay. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond the four destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme guide of human beings, to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the complete and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offering, go for refuge. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all three ever devout homage, to all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms, atoms, in all aspects, with the supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous action, perform only perfect virtuous action, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberrations, a flame of a lamp, an illusion and drop of dew or bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning and cloud, see condition, things as such. Through this merit, may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the four false, and be delivered from the samsaric ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Sa she pe ge chung she me to ta re ra le she yin de ge ba de sang ge shin do mi de wa do kun nama da shi che ba jo ye dam kuru ra na men da la ga ni ya ta ya. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye chodang soke sonam la changchu padu dane kyatsu. Dagi choche kibe sonam ye, dola penche sangye joba. Sangye chodang soke sonam, changchu padu dane. Dagi choche kibe sonam, dola penche sangye joba. Kanye doje ni sonne, dawa tamche pangbeche, tambe chone te, wadam de la chao so. So, we have been discussing the mind training, and Lojong in mind training, and there are so many different texts on mind training Lojong, and we're having following particular text, which is called the 7-point mind training by one of the Kadamba Geshe Chekawa. And within that, there are 7 points. He discussed about the mind training from the point of view of 7 points. And we kind of finished the kind of the third point last week in terms of the verses, where the third point is transforming all our adversity circumstances, difficult circumstances or situations or event or experiences into a path to the enlightenment. And so again, in relation to that, of course, he advised to apply immediately whenever any difficulty arises, apply immediately the meditations on, the conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta of the wisdom. And through that, by applying those meditations, we try to transform them. And also he advised to apply the 4 practices that we went through last week. He comments other 4 practices that we can also apply that. And when we train our mind in this point, the idea is to be open and accepting. Training our mind to be accepting and being okay and being joyful with whatever life is presented in our life in the instant, whatever moment, Of course, we all have certain aspirations. We all want to be healthy. We all want to have a good relationship. We all want to have a better financial situations. And so many things that we do have certain aspiration. We do have certain wishes. But at the same, we should try to work to fulfill those aspirations and wishes, but at the same time, not being too attached with that, not being so attached with that goal, that wish, that aspirations. Instead, training our mind to be, while we work for fulfill those aspirations, at the same time, training our mind to feel relaxed and training our mind to be okay if things does not go the way we want things to go. Training our mind to be okay and even joyful, even when things go in that opposite direction than the way we wish. Even it go opposite directions towards our aspirations. And training our mind to be, training our mind to be accepting that. Not only accepting, but being okay and even joyful with that by seeing positiveness in that, and so I think that is one of the key training of Lojong or mind training, So in the training, you train your mind, if it's best for maybe healthy, so be it. If it's best for me to be unhealthy, so be it. So just being accepting, training your mind to be okay with either of them. If it's best for me to have wealth, so be it. It's great. I can support and help so many beings. But if I don't have wealth, so be it, because I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to create so many, I don't have to have so much distraction. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to, go through all the lot of problem that comes with the wealth. If we have a good relationship, so be it. That is great. That we have companion, we can help each other. That if we don't have good relationship, so be it. I don't have to relate with others. I can have my own freedom. I can do whatever I want. I'm not tied by some kind of tied because of someone else that I have to always, in relationship, you have to have a consideration for each other. So you have to be always, so you can't always have the freedom, whatever you want to do, So every situation have, good side and negative side, and it is, no situation is absolute bad or negative, or no situation absolute good or positive, and so therefore it depends on where we focus our mind on, If we learn to focus on the good side, the positive side of every situation, any event, any experience, we can always find joy and happiness in our life. If we keep on focusing on the negative side, then we will be very unhappy and miserable all our life, because no matter what changes, we always focus on the negative side, Even when we are, let's say, example, we have physical challenges, health issue. Even when recovery, instead of being happy, maybe we might be, because our mind focused too much on negative, well, I've recovered, but I'm not as healthy as someone else who is more healthy than me. And so then your mind started missing. Instead of being joyful that you are better than before. It is same idea, that this idea of either you look half glass of water or you look is not full, that same idea, and that is that if we can, mind training is that training, always looking and from the philosophy, from the idea that there is something in the glass, at least there's half, instead of looking that is not full, and therefore becoming unhappy and miserable, and so and it's so important, it's so important. People often ask me about, how happy I'm here, or how do I miss home and this and that, or how you feel when same kind of question at home when you are back home, And nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect here. Nothing is perfect there. We live in a samsara. And as long as we have the delusions, nothing is perfect, no matter where you go, no matter in what situation you are, If I focus on the imperfections, then I will be miserable, unhappy. But if I focus on the good side, the positive side, whether when I'm here, whether at home or wherever, then I can be happy and joyful anywhere that I am. And I think that is the key, that is the key to feel, that is the key to keep your mind, your life more positive, more joyful, It's just focusing on the good side, If I just keep on focusing on what I don't have, then I will be miserable no matter where I go, because there is always something missing. Because there's no limit to our desire, and therefore there's always desire, wanting something else, something more, and that is not there, you know. And if I or we focus on that, then definitely we always feel we are missing, not enough, all the time. And that make our life much more unhappy, miserable, you know. Instead, just focus on the positive side, the good side, you know, and that is the key to this mind training. So in that, I mentioned mind training, that is the word, you know, training your mind to have, if it is best for me to be alive, so be it, because I can practice the Dharma, I can serve others. If it's best for me to die, so be it, because I can have a new life and restart from healthy and, you know. So basically, what is training your mind every day, just being okay with whatever is presented. It doesn't mean we don't have any kind of some wish or aspirations and trying to fulfill those wishes and aspirations. We do follow, but without any kind of clinging and grasping and, you know, attachment. While we try to work to fulfill our aspiration and wishes, but at the same time, mentally training and being prepared to be okay and happy with whatever is presented in the moment in our life. And that is the key to be happy. That is the key to be happy. When we are able to do that, when you are able to do that, you know, if it rains, you are happy. If it's sunny, you are happy. If it's, you know, snowy, you are happy. If it doesn't snow, you are happy. You know, if you are able to go to the mountain, you are happy. If you are unable to go to the mountain, you are happy. You know, if you are able to go and visit your friend, is happy. If you are unable to visit your friend, is also happy. You know, if you can have something extra to do something things, is happy. If you don't have even extra to do things, that is also happy. You know, and so that is the thing. You know, the key to happiness is training your mind to be accepting and being okay with whatever situations, experiences, circumstances that is presented in our life, whether we want it or whether we didn't want it, you know. And it might not be so easy at the very beginning, but if we train our mind, if you train your mind, eventually you will be able to do that. Eventually you will be able to do to a certain level. Maybe not fully, but, you know, when things doesn't go so well, the way you wish, the way you want it, you might feel a little bit disappointed, but it will not be so, you know, overwhelming that will make your life so miserable. It is a moment of disappointment, and you can just let it go. And so then your mind is able to see from the positive side and being happy with that, the new situations. And that you know, because of training, you can be able to do that. And eventually, maybe you don't even have any disappointment at all, you know, to start with, you know, you are equally happy whether it go in the, you know, west or south, or I mean east or west. Even though you have some inspiration things to go east way, but even it goes opposite the west, still you are equally happy, you know. And And if we reach that point, then life might not become as miserable as it seems to us, and can be joyful and happy, regardless of whatever external circumstances, situations. So that is the mind training. So that is one of the key of the mind training. And also, as we mentioned, whatever situations arises, whatever situations presented in our life, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by years, trying to utilize those circumstances, painful experience, pleasant experiences, whether it's painful present or whether it's painful experience or pleasant experience, joyful experience, trying to transform those experiences into the path to enlightenment, which we already kind of discussed a little bit before, whether it's a difficult, challenging situation or whether it's a very easy circumstances and situations, whatever, transforming those situations, circumstances into the path, when unfortunate circumstances arises, utilizing that through our own difficulties, challenges, helping us to open our heart to understand other sentient beings, circumstances like ourselves or those who are worse. Through that, then allowing our love and compassion to grow, especially compassion to arise, grow, so it is like watering our compassion seed and thereby transforming into the path, and then wishing them to be free from their pain, suffering, making prayers, dedications, wishing them to be free from their sufferings, pain, and then on top of that, we can even do Tonglen, taking on their pain, suffering if we could. And then when things are going well, when things are going well in our life, positively, when things are going, then again, recognizing our situation, feeling grateful about that, rejoicing that, and recognizing how not everyone has same situations, even though we have good situation, but not everyone that good situations. And so, again, feeling for those who lack that kind of great opportunities, great situations, and feeling compassion for them, and wishing them they also have same situation like ourselves. I wish all sentient beings have great situation like ourselves. May they have those great situations. We make prayers, we dedicate them, we wish them, and then we can do the Tonglen giving, all our goodness, sending them. And through that, whatever situation that is presented, we transform them into something positive, into the path as a cause and conditions, transform them into the cause and condition to enlightenment. And transform them in the cause and conditions to be more benefit, more help, more service to other sentient beings. So that is, I think that is a little bit more summarize a little bit from the last week, the third point, you know. And then today we go to the fourth point, and where it is the integrating practice of single lifetime, you know. So integrating all the practice within the whole life, you know. Whole life now, at the moment, and at the time of death, in the futures, at the time of death, you know. So integrating all the practice within our lifetime, and at the end of our lifetime, that's when the death comes, you know. So in the two, within the within the two different practice, we can say, you know, integrating the practice at the moment while we are still alive, during our whole life, and then at the end of our life. And so that is, integrating that. So if you go to the verse itself, it says, in a brief, the essence of the instructions is to train the 5 powers. So that is the first one is, and cultivate those paths of practice. So that is integrating while we're alive, and then integrating at the time of death is the 5 powers themselves are the great vehicles precept at the transference of consciousness. So that is at the time of death. And so therefore cultivate those paths, the 5 practices, the 5 power at the moment and at the time of death. And so, so here is saying, you know, all the Buddha's teachings, you know, just the translation that we have in Tibetan translations is around more than 100 volumes, you know. All of them are instructions. All the Buddha's teaching are instructions. What instructions? Those are instructions to train our mind. They all are instruction to train our mind, you know. What is training our mind means, you know, learning, studying about our own different minds, different emotions, you know, through the books, through our own direct experiences. And then through their studies, recognizing, understanding which kind of minds, which kind of emotions, which kind of feeling, thoughts are beneficial, helpful, which kind of thoughts, emotions, feeling are harmful. Recognizing, understanding, recognizing that, realizing that. Once you have that recognizing, then learning the tools, the practice, the meditation to reduce those harmful thoughts, feelings, emotions, minds, and learning the tools, the practice, the meditation to improve and increase those positive, beneficial feelings, thoughts, emotions, you know. So all the Buddha's teaching are instruction on that, how to do that, you know. Eventually, to develop highest level of yourself, highest level of your mind, and become fully enlightened, you know. So that is the Buddha's, all the Buddha's teaching are that instruction. And after Buddha's teachings, you know, there are so many great Indian commentaries, as well as commentary by other masters from all different, you know, countries, you know, teachings, instructions from Tibet, and, you know, from outside of Tibet, you know, some of Chinese masters, some of the Japanese master, Korean master, and some of the master in Mongolia, Nepal, and also in these countries nowadays, you know. So all these teachings are instruction. They all are instructions how to train our mind, how to transform our mind, how to tame our mind. Okay, so there are so many, all these teachings, all the Buddha's teachings and commentaries by the later masters and later practitioners, you know. When we track the essence of all these instructions, then such as the practice of Lamrim is like the essence of all these instructions, you know. If you look in the sutras, you know, you can't find all the teaching that you find in Lamrim in one sutra, you know, some of them in one sutra, some of them in another sutra. So you have to study 50, 100 different sutras in order to get all this essence of those teachings, you know, because sutra is combined with Buddha's interactions and interaction between the Buddha's students, you know, on different subject matter at different time, at different, you know, sometimes Buddha go from one place to another place, and then someone asks him some questions and he answered that. Or sometimes among students, they have discussions, and then at the end, the Buddha can comment. And sometimes there is stories, and sometimes is, so they are different. But from all that, the main practice, it has compiled from different sources of different sutras, many different sutras, compiled together and put together in a more systematic way. That's in Lamrim. So it is the essence of the Lamrims are the essence of all the sutras or the Buddha's instructions, the teachings, you know. And then the Lojong are even the essence of the essence, you know. So Lojong is even the essence of the Lamrim, you know, because again, Lamrim is quite thick book, you know, more than, you know, 500 pages. Lojong here, you can see is 2 pages or even less than 2 pages. So, but it kind of contains the essence of all the Lamrim teachings. So therefore is the essence of all this teaching. That is why it is saying in brief, the essence of the instructions, you know. And so, so here in the Lojong practice, then it is presented from the point of view of 5 powers or 5, dogma, how to integrate all the practice within the 5 powers. How to integrate all the practice within the 5 powers, and how to integrate those 5 powers within our lifetime. So, so first, let me just give the 5 powers, you know. The power of different translations use different words. The power of in Tibetan, in Pemba, and many of translation have used as the power of motivations, some the power of determinations, some power of aspirations, you know, different translations. The power of in some I kind of like a little bit more like the determinations, power, motivation, determination. So anyway, the power then and then the power of familiarity. Familiarity, becoming familiar with the practice, the familiar. The power of familiarity is the second. And third one, the power of, sometimes it is translated white seed, sometimes seed of virtues, or seed of white seed, white seed, like the seed of the plant. So sometimes virtues is translated, sometimes in Tibetan word, culture, it means, like carbon sabin is like carbo means white, but it mainly refers to virtues, white refers to the virtues. And so it is the seed of the virtues, or the power of the seed of the virtues, or the power of the white seed, whatever your different translations. And then the fourth one, Lama Sopa Rinpoche, I think, translates the power of the blaming, but Sunjimba, some translators will use as the power of expositions, like exposing, when you or yourself are wrong, exposing about that, But basically, it's maybe the power of restraint, maybe you can call. It's the same word that when we talk in the four opening powers, that same word, Sunjimba in Tibetan. And the power of dedications, the fifth one, the power of dedications. And some translator has used as a power of aspiration as well, dedications. So those are the 5 powers that so then we start with the power of the determination, or the power of the motivations, however you call it, in our life, in order to succeed in any of our project activities, goal, first we need to have the motivations. Motivation is that drive you to do something, to achieve something, to fulfill something, to accomplish something. That is where everything starts from, that kind of inspirations or motivations, And then, strong determinations to accomplish that. Strong determinations to accomplish that, Without that kind of motivation and determinations, without that kind of motivation, inspiration, and determination, it is extremely difficult to achieve, accomplish, succeed any kind of our project, wish, and goal, So that is very important, to have that kind of the intentions, the motivation, the determinations. It is that what carry us, that kind of intention and determination carry us to the very end, It carry us to the very end. And so here, when we practice the Lojong here, the main motivation, determinations is, the main motivation or determinations is the motivations to work for the benefit of all sentient beings, to dedicate for the benefit of all sentient beings, dedicating your life, for the benefit of all sentient beings. The motivation is to be service to all sentient beings, The motivation is to help contribute to free all sentient beings from all the suffering and cause of suffering. And the motivation is to, to help, to contribute, to support, to guide them, to lead them from the suffering and cause of suffering, and to not only temporary happiness, but ultimate happiness of enlightenment, That is the motivation when someone is engaged in the Lojong and mind trainings. In mind training, the Lojong that we are talking about here, the motivation is that why we are training our mind is for that purpose. Why we need to train our mind, why we need to transform our mind in order to fulfill that for the benefit of all sentient beings, And so, and in order to do that, then of course our needs need to be enlightened. If we are not enlightened, then the less enlightened we are, the less help and benefit we can do for others. The more enlightened we are, the more help and benefit we can do for others. And also oneself, not only others, but oneself also, including oneself. The more and more enlightened we become, the more and more we have the more and more stronger compassions, bodhicitta, more and more wisdom, more and more skillful means, more and more better way to be help and benefit to other sentient beings. The more enlightened we become, And so therefore, in order to do that, then we need to become enlightened ourselves, and then the wish to achieve enlightenment in order to benefit and help sentient beings, all sentient beings more. So that bodhicitta mind is the motivations. Yeah, the power of the motivations. The power of the motivation, the power of the aspirations that we talk about here is that the bodhicitta motivations. That bodhicitta motivations. And we try to have that bodhicitta motivations in all the practice, the virtuous practice we engage in, any kind of practice we engage in, we try to bring up that motivation all the time. That is why whenever we start any practice, we start with refuge and bodhicitta, Even though we recite, the idea is to really generate that motivations, okay? Not just reciting, that is a word that is supposed to help us to remind and feel that. And so that's why we start every practice, any kind of small practice to big practice, meditations, any kind of, any type of virtues that we engage, we always start with that. That is so important to develop, to cultivate that bodhicitta motivations. So important. And especially we try to generate that motivations in the morning the moment we get up. So when we integrate in our everyday life, the first thing when you get up, instead of looking for a coffee, first thing, we spend some more time. Your coffee will be more, the drinking coffee will be more meaningful if you have generated motivations. If you have drink the coffee without that motivations, your drinking coffee is just an ordinary worldly activities. But if you, before that you have generated bodhicitta motivation, even drinking coffee will be a virtuous, meaningful. So therefore, first thing is generate. And then after generating that bodhicitta motivation, you go to bathroom, you use bathroom, that become meaningful. You brush, you wash, you take shower, that become meaningful, virtuous. You clean up your house, that become virtuous, meaningful because of that. So therefore, first thing, when you get up, first thing in the bed, while you are still on the bed, it doesn't require so much time. You can do a motivation, bodhicitta motivation in 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. You can do extensive, short, depending on, it can be 5 minutes, it can be 10 minutes, it can be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on, but you can generate that bodhicitta mind. The first thing to start with. So, making strong motivations, that from now on, until I achieve fully enlightenment. From now on until I achieve fully enlightenment. Especially in whole this life, as long as I live, especially in this life, particularly this year. This week, this month, this week, these 24 hours, especially these 24 hours, I'm going to try all my best to be more mindful, to watch my 3 doors. I'm going to try all my best not to allow myself to engage in any negativities that brings hurt and harm to others and myself. I'm not going to allow myself to be so angry and act out of anger. I'm going to try myself as much as possible to be a more patient, more tolerant, more kind, more compassionate. And I'm going to try all my best, especially to develop the true bodhicitta mind. True bodhicitta mind. I'm going to develop this true bodhicitta mind. The awakened mind, the conventional awakened mind of bodhicitta, and the ultimate bodhicitta, the wisdom relies on the emptiness. I'm going to try all my best, put all my effort to cultivate, to develop, to maintain, to increase, improve more and more those bodhicitta mind, to bodhicitta mind. So generating that strong motivation and that strong determination that no matter how challenging it is, no matter what the situation, I will try my best to be mindful, aware, and to practice that to bodhicitta mind as much as possible. And the purpose of cultivating that bodhicitta mind is so that we can become fully enlightened as soon as possible, so we can liberate all sentient beings from suffering and cause of suffering. So with that, you try to generate the bodhicitta mind and you develop a strong determinations, and that will have a strong impact throughout the day. We can, you can check out yourself. You can observe yourself. You can check yourself. If you start the day with a very negative feelings, negative thoughts, that will affect your day. If you start your day with a positive state of mind, helpful mind, positive state of mind, that will affect your day throughout the day. That kind of motivation, determinations has a strong impact, not only this morning, but throughout day. It will have certain level of impact. Even you don't remember it consciously, but on subconsciously there is some effect of that, because with that strong motivation and determination, you have left a very strong imprint in your mind in that moment. And something during the daytime, something happened, suddenly you remember the motivation, the determination you generated this morning. You remember easily. And when you remember it, you can apply it. And you don't allow yourself to go in that negative state, that harmful state of mind, negative state of mind. So generating that kind of strong motivation, determination is so important to start that. And that is also His Holiness says, he always says, the first thing when you get up, you wake up is that, he think about the bodhicitta and the emptiness, the wisdom. That is the first thing. And these are not only their practice, but these are advice, instructions to us. These are example for us. And so again, here the teaching also said that in terms of from the 5 point of powers and integrating that the power of the motivation or determination in the morning, starting with that kind of motivation, determination is very important to start the day. That is good start for the day. That is good start for the week. That is good start for the month. Good start for the year. Good start for the life. Good start for whole endless life until enlightenment. So we will have a short break, okay? Welcome back, everyone. And so we were talking about the power of the motivations. So in the morning, the first thing you do, and then, we try to bring that motivation throughout the day as much as possible in whatever practice, whatever activities that we engage into, So even though we don't have to go through details, but just to remember and just to bring, it is like, it's like a plant that has already got enough water. You don't need to water a lot every time. You just put few drops and that will be good because it is already moisture, and few drops each time. Similarly, we try to develop a more extensive motivation in the morning, and throughout the day, even if we don't have time to do extensive, then we just try to remember and try to very shortly, and then it is like watering that, so that keep alive throughout the day, without having to go through more extensive because we don't have time to do. if we don't have time. And so then in the morning and then in the evening, before we go to the bed, again, we try to reflect our day, and has our day been, how did our day go? Reflect a few moments. Has the day went by the way we have motivated, the way we have developed determination and motivation in the morning or not? If we think, I generated a strong motivations, strong determinations to remember the two bodhicitta, but we feel that we didn't remember, then we think, okay, I didn't remember, but I will try more strongly tomorrow, being gentle and making a strong motivation, determination for the futures, for the tomorrow. If things has gone quite well, and then we rejoice, and give a pat on yourself, we need to do that, especially sometimes people who are very harsh on themselves, we can be harsh on ourselves. So when we do something good, you need to give encouragement and pat on yourself, not others, but yourself as well. Give more encouragement. And so when you do see that you have been quite good or not too bad, in terms of our actions, and then again, generate a stronger motivations and determinations to try even harder tomorrow, and so that way, again, we try to keep that. And then throughout the day, whatever activity we engage, we try to bring that as much as possible. So, yeah. And especially if we are kind of going through certain situations, difficulties, whether it is with our own mind or whether it is with someone, it is good to make strong determination when we get up, I will not allow myself to be in that kind of negative state today, I will try all my best. I will try all my best not to allow myself to be in that negative state that has kind of strong me, this month, this week, or yesterday. Instead, I will try to make sure that I become more positive and more. So that, again, depending on what kind of different emotions that we are dealing with, going through, then we can also bring that specific emotions and then make that kind of strong motivation, determination, not to allow ourselves to be overwhelmed and stormed by that kind of negative emotions, but instead trying to overcome that. And important. So with that, I think we kind of, and then second, the power of the familiarity. And that is, throughout the day, whenever we get any opportunity, trying to apply the practice of the two bodhicitta, the conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta, and becoming a familiarity with that practice all the time. So of course, we can have a meditative sessions, on meditation on the two bodhicitta, the relative bodhicitta and the wisdom, again, it can be 20 minutes, it can be 15 minutes, 10 minutes, but we try to kind of find a time to sit and to meditate and to practice, to meditate, at least once a day, and then trying to bring that practice throughout the day, during the post meditations in whatever activity we engage into. And through that, we familiarize ourselves all the time. When you eat, you take few moments to bring the bodhicitta there, The purpose of my life is to benefit all sentient beings, to liberate all sentient beings. And in order to do that, I need to achieve enlightenment. In order to achieve enlightenment, I need to practice. In order to practice, I need to be healthy. In order to be healthy, I need to eat. Therefore, I'm going to eat, for example. So in that way, before you eat and offer, you bring that bodhicitta motivation. It takes you a few more, less than 1 minute. If you don't go in a lot of details. Same thing, if we need to walk, go to work, again, same thing, the purpose of my life is to benefit all sentient beings. And to that, I need to achieve enlightenment. And to that, I need to practice. And to practice, I need to have resources to be alive, to practice. And therefore, I go and work, so that, as well as to help and benefit those who get benefit from my job, directly, indirectly. And through that, again, and you can develop that motivation while you are walking, while you are driving. It doesn't take extra time, It's just, we just have to train our mind to do that. And once we get familiarity, then you don't have to think, it just comes automatic, easy. And same thing, if you are walking or hiking or whatever you are doing, same thing, same kind of attitude, In order to be healthy, then both physically, mentally, then I need to have this kind of, exercise, whatever, and therefore I'm going to do that. So it takes you only a few moments, but it keeps alive the bodhicitta throughout the day. So even when you are not in meditation session, you are still meditating and keeping it alive all through that. And then same with, if you want to bring the emptiness, same thing, you try to do meditation, and then during the daytime, you can think interdependence while you are eating, just the food, We can think, what is the food, Is this the flavor? Is this the taste? Is this the substance itself? Where is the taste? It is in my tongue. Is it in between? Is this in my conscious eyes, tongue consciousness? Is it in is this in the leaf? Spinach itself. Where is the taste? The flavor that I enjoy, the food, the flavor of taste or enjoy, where is it? Doing that kind of exercise, and also seeing interdependence. And we can do that in everything that we do. And then again, it doesn't take, you don't have to spend 15, 20 hours, minutes. You can do, if you do, then that is great. But even just few minutes, few seconds, 1-2 minutes, it doesn't take so much. And you don't have to stop doing whatever you are doing. While you are doing, you can still continue. While you are eating, you contemplate on that. So it doesn't take away your extra time away, but you are doing practice. And through that, that's how we make familiarity with that. And with that kind of familiarity, when we familiarize so much, then slowly it becomes habit, natural. At the moment, we have very familiarity and habitual with the response and reacting negatively, because we are so familiar with those negative feelings, thoughts, emotions, state of mind. Because we have been so familiar with that, so habitual with that, that's how we respond, naturally. Even you don't want to respond that way, we can't stop. And if we practice and familiar with that way, slowly, then, even without any effort, You don't have to remember it. You don't have to put in effort. It's just constantly, your mind started to go in that state of bodhicitta motivations, compassion motivations, in that state of seeing, interdependent emptiness, whatever you are doing in whatever state. And when that becomes, then that is when your practice will really progress very quickly. Because now we are practicing all the time while we're awake. It is not just 20 minutes in the cushions, or half hour on cushion, or 1 hour on cushion. Now you are practicing throughout the day. And when you are able to do that, then definitely you will be able to have much more ease, make much more quickly and progress in our path, in our practice. At the moment, our practice on the cushions. Outside of cushion, our practice, there is no more practice. How many times we spend on cushions? 2 hours, 1 hour, even with distracted mind. And even we spend 20 minutes still with distracted mind. And that much amount of time we spend, it is hard to have a really big transformations and progress immediately, But if we are able to bring the practice throughout the day, like that, even though as an unenlightened being, when we are in still sentient beings, it's hard to have a perfect meditations where you see same equal on the cushions and do off the cushions. But when you reach enlightened, when you become Buddha, then there's no difference between pose and meditative sessions, Every time, all is meditative sessions. And we can reach that point, but not at the moment, but at least by doing that, then, because we have still keep to certain level of that, the meditation that we this morning on bodhicitta and wisdom, and throughout that, revisiting them every time we do a little bit, even if it's very short, it still keep alive throughout the day, it still keep refreshed throughout the day. And tomorrow or anytime when you do a meditation session, the meditation session becomes much more powerful because that fire or your meditation has been still kept alive. Normally, after meditation, we kind of totally go off, and then it's like making new fire tomorrow, or new fire when you are making another meditation. It's like you are restarting the fire. So then again, but when you keep that alive all the time, then you don't have to restart that fire again, and it is easy, and then your practice becomes much more powerful. So trying to engage and practice the two bodhicitta throughout the day, and making familiarized with that all the time. And when you do that throughout the day like that, then you can even have in dream meditating. And so then even in dream, you are practicing meditating. Even in sleep, you are practicing meditating. And that is the experience of a lot of practitioners. His Holiness Dalai Lama says, even in a dream, sometimes he is contemplating on emptiness. He has this dream of contemplating on emptiness in the dream. He has dream of bodhicitta and help. That is because, when you have practiced so much throughout the day, it even come in the sleep, if it come in the dream. And again, even though we don't, I can't say we, but even though I don't have that experience, but I do know sometimes what you think in the day affect your sleep and your dream. That comes in your dream, So when you have a positive thoughts such as bodhicitta all through that, then definitely it will have a, and imagine, even in the dream when you are meditating, contemplating, then you're 24 hours contemplating and meditating. Then while you don't have to give up sleep, at the same time, you can have meditation while you are sleeping. Isn't that wonderful? It's not like giving up one for others. Do you get it? At the moment, we feel like if I have to practice, I have to shorten my sleep, give up my sleep, or other things. So imagine when you are able to meditate, contemplate, practice even the dream, even in your sleeping state, then you are practicing meditation 24 hours. And when you do that, it is impossible not to make a progress. It's impossible not to make a progress quickly and more quickly and more easily. So that is the power of the familiarity. Trying to engage in the practice of true bodhicitta as much as possible throughout the day, all the time. Applying any activities that we do in that directions. Not with bodhicitta, but for maybe even with a little bit of bodhicitta, I think maybe. I remember, when I was studying in Sera, of course, we go to class all the time, your schedules, class, go to the teachings, you go to the pujas, you go to the debate, all of that. But a lot of time, you don't have any kind of intention, bodhicitta intention, motivation, you just go, you just do it. That's what you are supposed to do, and that is what you are doing, I don't remember the year, but one year, Rinpoche visited, Lama Zopa Rinpoche visited Sera, and then he gave some advice to the Kopan monks. And Rinpoche very much emphasized on that. And it somehow registered and caught my mind very strongly. And I started doing that. Every day, every time when I go to teachings at my teacher, because we have to walk, depending on which teacher we go, 10 minutes, 20 minutes walking back and forth to go to the teachings. I started to, while I'm walking, I started to trying to generate the bodhicitta motivations. Same thing when we're debate class, we have to walk 10 minutes. And again, while I'm walking, I try to kind of think about this. When we go to puja, again, we have to walk. While we're walking, I'm trying to think about it. And sometimes you meet friends and you started talking and then you don't have time to really think about while you are walking. But once you stay, whether it's the teaching, whether it's the debate, whether it's the pujas, I take a few moments to trying to at least, put the effort to at least try to generate. And over the time, it became more and more effortless. And over the time, it became more easier. When you just started to go to puja or debate or teachings, immediately you just start thinking that way, And I think it's a familiarity, it comes with familiarity. And then those are the wonderful, sometimes when you go to pujas, sometimes they can be very, very long and sometimes not inspiring, at least for me, sometimes those puja can be very tiring and not inspiring. But you have to go, not like here you have options. There we don't have options, If you don't go, then you will be, marked missing, And so you go, and sometimes you feel like, you are wasting your time. But then when you develop that bodhicitta motivations, and with that bodhicitta motivation, and sometimes you try to think about, contemplate and think about some of the debate or the subject that we are kind of studying, and that make you more easier, and then you start to feel meaningful, meaningful. Especially when I was in Gumetandit College, some of the pujas can go for 4 hours continuously, and very hard, and we don't have tax, and so the monks there, they have memorized and they can recite, but we have not memorized some of the long sadhanas, and not only they recite, sometimes they recite with so many different tunes, and you don't know the tunes, and you get lost, even you have recited, even you have memorized it, and so sometimes it can be kind of very kind of you wonder what I'm doing 4 hours here, and so then again, sometimes you try to meditate, sometimes you try to contemplate, and sometimes you and then of course when you start with bodhicitta mind, then just sitting there itself feel like meaningful, beneficial, because of that bodhicitta motivations. So even in your mind it helps, in like that. Even in your mind it feel like sometimes when you feel like you didn't get any new, you didn't learn anything, it didn't inspire you, you didn't got any benefit from that, and sometimes we might feel like I wasted that much of energy or hours, whatever, but then just remembering that I started with that bodhicitta mind, and that by itself, by power of that bodhicitta motivations, that this time has been meaningful, virtuous, and cause of enlightenment. And again, that gives you some kind of joyfulness and feeling of some kind of meaningful, and so anyway, so that I just give you some familiarity with that, how it can become familiar over the time, when we at the very beginning you don't remember all the time, you have to remind, it requires effort, and then but over the time, as you keep on continuing, then slowly it requires less and less effort to remember that, and slowly it becomes more and more kind of almost like automatic, like kind of natural. So that is where we want to, even though it is not a real bodhicitta, but still, with our contemplation, still trying to have that bodhicitta. That is, and so then the power of the seed of the virtues, or the white seed, so in order to have a successful in cultivating, maintaining, and developing the two bodhicitta, the conventional ultimate bodhicitta, meditations is very important. Reflection, contemplation on that is very important. Whether during the meditation sessions on the on the cushions or off the cushions, is reflecting, contemplating them. Whether we do details or short, doing that is very important. But at the same time, for the success of that realizations and the meditations, we need to create conducive conditions and overcome the obstacles. And so therefore, in order to do that, then we engage in the practice, accumulating merit and purifications, and so those, so here, and so then when we do frustrations, why we do frustrations? So we purify and create merit. Why we need to create merit? Why we need to purify? So that the obstacle for generation of that realization of bodhicitta to bodhicitta is clear, and create merit so that we can create a conducive conditions so that we can develop that bodhicitta mind, the two bodhicitta mind, and increase and improve them. And so whether we are doing circumambulation and prostrations, whether we're doing offerings, whether we are doing any sadhanas, whether we are doing any recitation of mantras, whether we are doing any other form of meditations, any virtuous actions, seeing all of them as a way to support that two bodhicitta mind. With that intention, motivations, by seeing that, we try to engage. And so engaging in the other virtues, the seed of virtues or virtuous actions that become cause and condition to develop the realization of the two bodhicitta mind, So bringing all other practice as a support to that bodhicitta mind, to bodhicitta mind as a support. So then the practice of bodhicitta, to bodhicitta become the main practice. Then other virtuous practice are as a supportive cooperation or supportive cause and conditions to really develop that realization to bodhicitta mind. So always kind of relate, always kind of connecting that too. And so, and then of course, trying to be very mindful, awareness, having a very mindful, aware of our thoughts, our body, our speech throughout the day, And whenever we notice, when you have any kind of, harmful, hurtful, negative thoughts, speech, and physical gesture or behavior or expressions, we try to stop them. We try to minimize them. We try to overcome them, try to transform them. And whenever through mindfulness aware, when we notice, whenever we have any kind of positive and virtuous thoughts, speech, and act, we recognize that, we rejoice that, and try to increase and improve it even further, So that is the power of the white seed or the power of the virtues. And we use all of that practice, watching your thoughts, watching your speech, watching your physical behavior, and transforming them, those unhealthy, harmful, unskillful, hurtful into something meaningful, beneficial, helpful, transforming them and using all that energy as a conducive conditions, as a supportive conditions, cooperative conditions to develop the two bodhicitta mind, using all of that. So that is the power of the third power, And the fourth, the power of the, as Lama Sopa said, blaming, or the power of exposure, is, throughout the day, whenever any negative thought arises, whenever any difficulties arises, whenever things doesn't go the way we want, whenever, things, then, oh, why am I having these negative thoughts? Why am I disturbed? Why am I agitated? That's making me miserable, unhappy, Why is that? Why is that? and then recognizing it is because of our selfish attitude. Because of our selfish attitude, then we have those delusions. Because of our selfish attitude and the fundamental ignorance, then we have those other negative thoughts, feeling, emotions, delusions. Because of those delusions and negative thoughts, emotions, and so forth, that's why our mind is unhappy. That's why our mind is disturbed. That's why our mind is agitated. So, again, this selfish attitude, the self-centeredness, is the very root of this problem, this pain, this suffering, this miserable. Recognizing, understanding that. No. Things are not going the way we want something because of, all the right conducive condition not come together to go in the right way, the way we want, because of our karma as well. And that is due to, again, our selfish attitude. That karma that create the obstacles arises from the selfish attitude. So therefore, anything, any unpleasant, external, internal that ever happens in our life, we connect that with selfish attitude, self-centeredness, and saying, being able to relate, being able to relate with that, being able to connect with that, and to be able to recognize and understand is because of that. And with that understanding, making a strong determination and trying all our best to reduce and overcome that selfish attitude as much as possible throughout the day, in whatever way we can. Sometimes we might have to talk with that selfish attitude, because selfish attitude will keep on trying to convince us it is good for us. That selfish attitude, that egoistic mind will always try to convince us why it is helping us, why it is beneficial to us, why we shouldn't get rid of it. If we get rid of it, then we will be, weak. We will be unable to take care of ourselves. We will be unable to protect ourselves. We will be taken advantage by others. So and so, that selfish attitude or egoistic mind will try to convince us all of that. A lot of time we listen to that. And so now we have to talk with that, with the wisdom and with the wisdom mind and with the bodhicitta mind, and saying, you have been deceiving us. You have been deceiving me from the beginning of lifetime. And now this time, because I met the Dharma, because I met the gurus, and because I have been able to contemplate myself, now I understand. Now you can't trick me anymore. Now you can't deceive me anymore. The time that you deceived me, the time that you have tricked me is gone. Now I'm not going to give up to your all this invalid reasoning, logic that you have been trying to give me. And by that, so we need to talk mentally with that. Sometimes maybe even talking verbally might be helpful, but not when people are around, okay? They think maybe you might need to go to hospital. But when no one is there, maybe you can talk, But whether you talk verbally or not, but mentally, it is like, through your wisdom mind and bodhicitta mind, we need to talk with that. And then because, and so through that, we try to overcome the selfish attitude, saying, you have misled me. And so far, from the beginning of time, And because I have been totally listening to you, becoming a total loyal servant, where I am now, I'm still in suffering. I'm still in samsara, still suffering, still a lot of problems. And because of listening to, that is where I am. And so I know now where you are leading. I know where your trick is. Now you can't trick me anymore. You can't deceive me anymore. You know. Now you can't use your spell to me anymore. You know. Now I'm going to get out of it. I'm not going to listen to you and get out of my mind. You know. And so with that kind of talking and then applying some other method, we try to reduce and that. And because the more you reduce that, the selfish attitude, self-grasping, the more easier is to develop the bodhicitta mind, conventional bodhicitta mind and ultimate bodhicitta mind. And so again, using that as a tool to increase our two bodhicitta mind, because that is the obstacle to improve, increase our two bodhicitta mind. Again, all the time, making, whether it's the motivation, whether it's the power of set of virtues, whether it's this, the power of blaming, all of this as a supportive means to develop two bodhicitta mind and increase and improve them. And then lastly, the power of dedications. So whatever virtues that we engage into, whatever, you know, positive and virtuous activities, practices that we engage into, we try to dedicate that, all of them, you know, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. You know, we can dedicate for the well-being of all sentient beings. We dedicate for the well-being and happiness of all sentient beings. We dedicate for the Dharma, which is the root of all the happiness, to remain forever, spread. And we dedicate to achieve ourselves enlightened and to lead all sentient beings to enlightenment by ourselves. And most important, we dedicate all the virtues that we have created to cultivate the bodhicitta, two bodhicitta mind, to be able to cultivate the two bodhicitta mind in ourselves as quick as possible. And ourselves and others who have already actualized, not to diminish, but increase more and more. And so trying to dedicate that all the time, especially at the end of any practice, meditations. And especially even more at the end of the day. So that is the power of the dedications. So through the power of dedications, you know, we make our practice even more stable, stronger. It is like something tent that you have put a hook so that the wind cannot take it away, you know. Stabilize it. The virtues that it cannot be destroyed by the winds, blown away by the winds of, you know, negativity such as anger, hatred, and wrong views and so forth, you know, so that we stabilize, make that the virtue strong and more expansive and extend and multiply and expansive. So, so bringing that power, the virtues. And so, yeah, again, as in this Lojong practice, dedicating to develop that two bodhicitta mind and to increase and improve. And so that is how we integrate all the practice as while we're alive towards cultivating and fully developing the two bodhicitta mind, because that is the key for happiness of ourselves, happiness of others. temporary happiness, ultimate happiness. And so I think with that, we will kind of, so that is today's talk. So again, throughout the day, homework, you try to apply as much as possible, try to generate the bodhicitta mind, motivation when you first wake up, you know, and trying to do dedications after every sessions, but especially in the end, to develop bodhicitta mind. And throughout the day, whether you are eating, whether you are washing, whether you are cleaning, whether you are going to walk, whether you are walking, trying to bring the bodhicitta and the wisdom as much as possible, trying to revisit them, even if it's just few moments, few seconds, few minutes, again and again, just to keep it fresh, alive, you know. And of course, you can try to meditate on, you know, at least maybe 10 minutes of each of them, you know, 10 minutes on relative bodhicitta and 10 minutes on the ultimate bodhicitta. And so at least maybe you can try for 1 week like that, you know, at least that is what we can do. So again, if you have time, while you are reciting mantra, you can still do the meditation, you know, because especially some mantras is short and that you are very aware, you don't have to really focus on the mantra, you know. So you just recite. If you have some commitments, while you are doing that commitments, that mantras, you can also try to meditate on the bodhicitta or emptiness. And so for those who feel that they don't have time to do extra kind of meditations, if they feel they don't have extra time to do that. And so, and then whenever something wrong, something bad happens on emotional level, in our mental level or external, again, immediately try to see connecting the selfish attitude and immediately try to blame that, immediately try to crush that selfish attitude as much as possible. And so, yeah, I think so that is all. Okay, we do the dedications. Today we do the may the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. May all beings everywhere plagued by the suffering of body and mind obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtues of my merits. May no living creatures suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by the depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drink. May the forlorn find wealth. May the poor find wealth. Those who with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvest. May all medicine be effective and wholesome prayer bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever disease they are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightening cease to be afraid and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other for as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain. Until then, may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So thank you very much. Yeah, the wish granting, wish fulfilling, jewel source of every single benefit and happiness in this world. To the incomparable kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. You who have all the subdue moral way, who serve as a bountiful bearer of all sustaining, preserving, spreading imaginary victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayer, holding and teachers, save myself and others, your disciple, please live long. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.